I wasn't going to belong anywhere unless I belonged to myself first,
Mm.
that I have the right to be both messy and magnificent. If we follow the patriarchal program, we're screwed.
Hello, welcome to Intuitive Insights Podcast. This is Meghan McDonough, your no BS woo woo coach. And today I have with me Monica Rodgers. Monica is a certified professional coactive coach, a life artist, an alchemist. She is the creator of the Revelation Project and Revelation Project podcast. Monica is a relentless advocate for the full actualization of women. She's a champion for advancing consciousness and personal accountability while dismantling the patriarchy. That is not an easy thing to do. Monica works to heal both the wounded masculine and feminine in our culture, as well as to help women to integrate these energies within. She has over 25 years of experience in healing modalities, leadership, and coactive coaching. She has also a wealth of experience as a writer, a blogger, an entrepreneur, and consultant. Monica is the founder of Little Bits by Monica Rodgers and the Earth Savers Gang Storybook series, and has been featured in InStyle, New York Times, and The Today Show. Welcome, Monica.
Thank you, Megan. Great intro.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I have
Nobody
so many
knows behind
questions.
the scenes, right?
I
Like
know.
what it takes to podcast, right?
Yeah,
Truly.
and to get your mouth to work
To
and
get your mouth
words
moving.
out of that, especially in perimenopause. Can we talk about
Oh
that?
my
Jesus Christ.
gosh. Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
I mean, honestly, it's like, oy vey. Okay, so let's kick this off with because I have so many questions, but
Yeah.
I want to start with my two main questions, which are, what is intuition to you? How do you define it?
So I define intuition as a somatic knowing.
I
Like
love that.
in other words, it comes from how connected and integrated we are
Mhm.
um, to the body and to the telemetry of the body.
Ooh, big words. Love it.
I think a lot of people think, like a lot of people talk about your spidey senses, but what I've
Mhm.
found is that the women who are kind of most rooted in
Yeah.
themselves and who've done a lot of work to reintegrate those fragmented parts of us that often happen as we are programmed through the patriarchal, you know,
Structure,
conditioning. Yeah.
society. Yeah.
That we often kind of, lose that for a while until we kind of start to trust that our body knows the way and that will often kind of give us signs and signals that I call our intuition.
Yes, absolutely. I could not agree more. Um, Now my next question is, so what prompted you to start integrating it more in your life? Like, was there a inciting incident where you were like, you know what? I can't do this other thing anymore. I got to go back to who I am.
And those are literally the words, Megan. Like, I can't do this anymore, right? I cannot do this anymore.
Yeah.
I kind of remember saying that. I think it almost occurred like a prayer that I was saying almost every day, but I didn't realize it and
Mm.
I didn't consider it a prayer. But it was
Yeah.
like I was walking around my life being like, I can't do this anymore. I just can't do
Mhm.
this anymore. Right? It
Yeah.
was like the I call it the P's, the pretty pleasing polite performance,
Yes.
right?
Oh, I
Like
love that.
I could not do the performance anymore. It was killing me. And I don't think a lot of us know that it's a performance. Like I didn't know. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have
And then,
called it that at the time.
mhm.
I didn't know that I was trained. I didn't know
Yeah.
that I was programmed and conditioned to be what I call the four P's. And
Hmm.
as women, um, we're none of us escape the training. We all
No.
have it to a certain degree. And
Mhm.
so in 2008, I had what they say we women can have. I had the big house, the white picket fence, the handsome
Mhm.
husband, the
Mhm.
2.5 kids, dog,
Right.
like
I
I
love
had,
that point five kid. It's my
yeah,
favorite.
like it's like I had, success in
Yes.
what
On paper.
on paper. And I
Mhm.
had never been more miserable,
Mm.
overwhelmed, depressed, alone, feeling
Mhm.
so lonely.
Mhm.
And so I didn't know either at that time what to call what I was having, but now I know that it was a dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
And many of us grow up not being able to be spiritually autonomous, and that was certainly
Yeah.
my experience. I grew up in a very strict Roman Catholic household. You didn't
Mhm.
question faith, you
Right.
just believed. And, if you questioned it, there was something wrong with you and you needed to go to confession. I mean,
Mhm.
again, like I'm paraphrasing what I kind of internalized.
Yeah, yeah.
But, I think that one of the things we need to normalize in this patriarchal culture, is that those of us that are lucky enough have a chance to have multiple dark nights because it's the dark night where we
Mm.
have the identity death and where we stop the performing, we stop the
Mhm.
pleasing, we stop the polite, we stop the pretty, uh we stop using currencies in that way and we
Yeah.
start aligning with the truth of who we actually are. And that is what I call unbecoming,
Mhm.
unbecoming from who the world told you to be so that you can reveal who you truly are. And that for me was when the Revelation Project was really born.
Mm.
The Revelation Project for me is simply a framework
Mhm.
where once we stop pretending and we start getting real with ourselves, we actually begin to hit these tension points where revelation starts to happen. It's like
Yeah.
that's where things start to really open up because we're no longer following the patriarchal program. We're no longer marching to the patriarchal pace. And
Yeah.
so we have the opportunity to begin to see our own programming and our own conditioning and to start unbecoming from that. And that's where I start saying, like, say yes to the mess because it's a really messy
Yes.
process. That's when we
Yep.
start as women saying yes to our intuition, our emotions. We start to practice self approval, like with who I actually am, and that's a very
Mhm.
inside job. It's like we realize that, or at least I started to realize that nobody was going to approve of me out there. I had to start to approve of who I was from in here.
Yeah. Yeah. I like on your website, you say, from revelation to revolution,
Mhm.
which is a
Mhm.
beautiful, it's a beautiful way of looking at the transformation, process.
Yeah.
Like you reveal it, it's revealed to you, and then it's like, now what?
Yeah.
Now what am
Yeah.
I gonna do? So the dark night of the soul. So when you stopped performing, I remember a moment in like it was like 6th grade where I was like, I mean, you can call it masking, you can call it, whatever now.
Yeah.
But like I remember taking in the social behaviors of others and I was like, I'm never gonna fit in if I don't do A, B, C, and D.
For sure.
Was there like an incident for you where you were like, the performance ends today?
Oh my gosh. There were so many. I mean, there's so many layers of it, right?
Yeah.
That once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then you're like,
Right.
"Ah,"
Yeah.
right. I had that experience actually with the inner voice.
Mhm.
I'll never forget being so sick because I was bedridden for 9 months. So it
Mm.
wasn't, I mean, when I say it was a dark night, I mean it was like a dark
Like, it was
night.
dark.
Like so Sophie Strand is this amazing author. Any of your
Mm.
listeners who know her work will know that she says something which is really powerful. And it's only an initiation if you survive. And those of us that go
Ooh.
through a dark
Ooh, I love
night
that.
are also being initiated. What are we being initiated into? Well, that's, I think, everybody's question to answer. But for me, I felt like I was being initiated into some of the mysteries of the feminine. And I believe that,
Mm.
those of us that live in a patriarchal culture are not really allowed to explore these feminine mysteries because, of course, once we do, we realize how powerful they are and how powerful we become when we're initiated into these mysteries.
Yeah.
And so I really felt like, understanding and like seeing the performance had to happen in layers. But first, I
Mhm.
realized that I had this inner voice
Mhm.
and multiple inner voices, actually. Like those of us that have been fragmented or gone through childhood trauma, raise your hand, right? Pretty
Right.
much anybody on the
See.
planet who's gone to school in America
Yeah.
or been raised in a religion has childhood trauma,
100%. Yeah.
right? Like small t trauma, big T trauma, right? I'm not,
Mhm.
they all count. And I'll never forget going to see a shaman, and at the time, I thought like, "Oh my gosh, like a shaman, he's gonna be, like, in robes and,
Right.
this indigenous
Feathers
man, and
and
he
yeah.
had on, like, a Patagonia vest and wore, like, hiking boots, and he was like, 'How can I help you?'
He had like a
And
latte
yeah, and
without milk.
right, he was in a yoga studio, and I was like, "Well, I've been really depressed and blah, blah, blah," and he said, "Well, no matter what I do today here to help you, you have to stop talking to yourself like that." And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And he said, "Do you talk to your best friend the way you talk to yourself?"
Mhm.
And I thought, well, I knew what he was talking about, but I didn't really like, I was like, I don't talk badly to myself. Like I was so unaware
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
and then literally about 2 days later, I remember being in a parking lot of a grocery store and the milk, was like the bottom of the bag fell out.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it was kind of in oncoming traffic, like, where you go to the parking lot,
yes.
and that's when I heard the voice, "You stupid idiot. What
Yes.
like, you can't get anything right." Like,
Mhm.
"Oh my god," like, just starting and then once I heard it, it was like I couldn't unhear it. It was like for the
Yeah.
first time in my life, I heard this inner abuser
Yep.
that was belittling me and these were also internalized voices. What we have to come to realize is they were the voices of highly critical parents and teachers
Yes.
and right friends, right things
Mhm.
names you had been called growing up. Those
Yeah.
those things it's like, they say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me or whatever, names will never
Yeah,
hurt
yeah.
me. Couldn't be I mean, we live in an inverse reality. It couldn't be
Well,
further from the
words are
truth.
energy, and, I mean, if you think about it in that way, like, n yeah, yeah, okay, words can't hurt me because they're not physically hurting me,
Oh my
but
gosh.
energetically, man, they leave some
Energetically,
wounds.
they're so harmful.
Yeah,
And I think, like, we once I started to understand that I was, like, harming myself in this way,
yeah,
and I started to correct it, that's when I started to see where I was performing. That's where I started
right.
to see, like, I
Who's
would
calling the
literally be
shots?
talking
Yeah.
to a friend and, like, my face would hurt, and I would realize, like, I had just been trained to, like, smile my way through conversations, and it would
Mhm,
be like, "Oh my gosh,"
mhm,
like that noticing the impact or the effect and catching myself kind of in the act and getting much more kind of, in, um having an inquiry like, "Well, how am I really feeling, and how does how I'm really feeling want to show up in my body and on my face
yeah,
today?" Right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
how do I want to, release myself from all of these programs, right? Like,
yeah.
all of these programs that have told me that if I don't do it in this way, that I won't have love and belonging.
Mhm, mhm.
And
I love
and
that.
one of the things that I realized was I wasn't gonna belong anywhere unless I belonged to myself first,
That's a hard
right?
one to take in, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and that somehow it was like every time that I was faking it, is a form of self-abandonment.
Mhm.
Every time I said yes when I meant
Yes,
no, every time I
yes,
said no when I meant yes.
right, yes, yeah,
And so really starting to see how incredibly foreign the real me was to me.
yes, yes,
I was like, "Who is this creature that
yeah,
has emotions and desires and has real things to say, dare I
right,
say them?"
right, right.
And it's quite a revelation
Yeah,
to learn yourself,
which then becomes
from
a
that
revolution.
very authentic place. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, there were a couple of things you said there. It made me think of this one with the voices in your head. It's like, and first of all, you think there's just one voice. And then when you really listen, when you really start to discern, you're like, oh my God, it's like they're echoes of other people's energy that are still bopping around in your energetic sphere.
Yeah.
And there was this was an acting class that I was in. And we were talking about the voice in the head that gets in the way of like performance, which is, I mean, you could take this to life anywhere. It doesn't have to be an acting class, but there was a guy teacher and and we were talking about the voice and he said, "What is she saying?" And I don't know why, but I was like, it's not a female voice. The fact that I was like, well, whoa, that's not a female voice. That was never a
It's like,
female voice. Yeah. And then I'm like,
yeah.
whose voice is that?
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, I realized it's like a lot of my dad's insecurities and
Mhm.
his stuff that he put on me, his
Totally.
anxieties
Totally.
that I absorbed. I can't say put on me because I
Well,
don't think it was intentional.
no, it
But
wasn't intentional, probably. Yeah.
yeah. But it was like, but then I was like, oh my God, so that's that voice. Who are the other people?
I know. It opens up this whole thing. I
Yeah.
even I even started naming them,
Mhm, mhm.
Like, it can be really
Yep.
helpful once you really kind of see, um, where these internalized characters come from and start to recognize them. And it's not about getting rid of them because we're never getting rid of them entirely, but it's about like what 2% truth are they trying to tell me today? Right?
Yeah.
And being able to hear them, but also like because these are in parts work or in family systems work, these
Yes.
are fragmented parts
Yes.
that
I was about to mention family system. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that need to feel seen, loved, and heard. And
Yes.
so when we can turn towards those voices and say, I see you and I hear you and
Yep.
I love you and I'm 56 years old and we've
Mhm.
got this, right?
Yeah, we got it.
It's like being able to like readdress those old 6-year, 10-year, 12-year olds that
Yes.
we still carry
Pieces
with
of self.
us
Yeah.
and say, I see you and I see that you're still worried that
Yeah. And that's a huge thing, I think, too, with women. I'm sure you've come across this in your work, but like, I don't think that we realize how many pieces we carry to serve different pieces out there. Do you know what I
for
mean? Like
sure.
there's the mother piece that serves the child and the husband sometimes. There's the,
The other
there's
child
there's
sometimes.
yeah.
Mhm,
And then
mhm,
the inner child, yeah, the artist child, if you're an
mhm,
artist,
mhm.
because that to me is like the primal mother-daughter, mother-child relationship is your inner
Yeah,
artist.
yeah,
And but there's so many different pieces of ourselves as women and as men too, but I feel like, well, I can only speak to being one. So um that it's hard to, and when I work with people, that's one of the first things that we look at is like, how many pieces do you recognize?
yeah,
What are their voices? What are their needs and wants? Where are they suffering? Where are they thriving? That kind of thing.
yeah,
Um, and that discernment to be able to, and that's part of your revelation, I think is what you're saying. Is that correct?
absolutely. Like I say, life is a revelation project, and what gets revealed gets
Yeah.
healed. And so for
I love that.
women, there's also this feeling element to it. Like we can't heal it unless we feel it. And a lot of us have been taught to suppress those emotions, but emotions are meant to move. And so, one
Mhm.
of the things that I really love working with women around is something that Mama Gina coined as swamping, but it's called many things. It's called,
Yeah.
like the bitch barn, taking a bat out and, like
Yes.
beating up an old TV or you
Yeah.
know, screaming into a pillow or whatever it is. But women get so alarmed by their own emotions once they start to
Yeah.
express themselves.
Experience
They're like,
them.
oh my
Yes.
God, like, and most women honestly have a secret fear, and I'll name it right now, which is that once they start, that they won't
They will
stop.
stop. Yeah. Mhm.
And that speaks to a lot of grief that women carry. We carry so much repressed grief, and underneath
Mhm.
that grief Well,
Well,
we
suppression.
carry so much
It's
rage,
suppression.
and underneath that
Yes.
rage is grief.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. There's this is something I've been focusing on a lot lately, and it has to do with what you were saying about once you are aware of it, then you can heal it, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So, and I was thinking of this as it relates to 'cause when I teach yoga, but also just like life in general. Is do you know that double split experiment in quantum physics?
Yes.
It's that.
It's that.
That if you don't, if there
Acknowledge
isn't
it.
awareness placed on it,
Yep.
transformation can't happen.
That's so that's so brilliant. It's
You
absolutely
know?
true. Mhm.
So if you have, when it relates to the body with yoga, it's like place your attention on your tension and use your magic, which is your energy, your focus, and your
And your
breath
intention.
and your intention to
Mhm.
unravel the tension. And it will.
Yeah. It
And you have
will,
to have that trust that it will, and it will. It
and it
does.
will. Yeah.
And that goes for not just physical, but mental, energetic, and all the wounds, it's like there's so much more to us than just the physical, which is
Oh
I
my
think what you're
gosh.
speaking to.
It
Um,
it's we're like a Pandora's box, but a good
yes,
one,
but a
and
good
one's
one, but a fun
yeah,
one.
but a good one.
Fun ones, lots
Absolutely.
of trauma,
And
little
again,
PTSD.
any place where there's a myth about a woman, where it, is like a tale of caution, I say go that way because the myth
Yes.
was written over and it didn't
Yeah.
actually start that way. Yeah,
No. No, it was refined to suppress.
that's right.
Um,
So
tell me
what are they so scared of, Megan?
well, this is
What do
what
you
I've
think?
decided that if there is a God, it's a minority female. And
Mhm.
the reason being is because that is the most suppressed individual on this earth. And it may be
I
even a
have the chills.
minority female that's LBGTQIA because
Yeah.
those are the people. The more you suppress somebody, it means that they have more power that you're afraid of.
Oh my gosh, there is a great book called God is a Black Woman.
Yeah.
And I interviewed the author and I'm spacing on her name right now, but it's so worth
There you go.
reading if those of you who are listening haven't read it yet. God is a
I'm
Black
looking it up right
Woman.
now.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so while I look that up, tell me, what is a coactive coach?
Okay. I love coactive coaches
Yeah,
because, and you would love them too, Megan. You know
yeah.
why?
Why? Tell me.
Because it started and was founded by actors who loved improv.
Mm. Yeah,
And the idea is that I don't um, come to you as a coach with your answers. You have your answers,
that's exactly right. To
and
guide you.
I'm here to ask you the right questions and to
Hmm.
collaborate with you and to co-act
Yes.
with the material that you bring.
Yes.
So I've got, let's say, many tools, teachings, and practices in my tool bag. And depending on what you bring, I'm co-acting with you with
Yeah.
that, right? With those.
It's a conversation.
It's a conversation that evolves over time. And that's the other reason I love this word revelation is because the client is having multiple revelations that
Yeah.
they're able to now put their life into a context
Yes.
where they begin to understand that they have agency and power and that they're actually narrating their own story. And so,
Hmm.
in the transformation world or the world of transformation,
Hmm.
how do we get people to transform? Well, we get them to change their story,
Yeah.
right? And
Right.
so, those of us that are locked into a story about ourselves,
Hmm.
like part of the process is to interrogate those beliefs and
Hmm.
to begin to really examine like where do those beliefs come from,
Hmm.
how do those beliefs serve me,
Hmm.
what am I pretending not to know, how do
Right.
I, right, like asking questions in such a way and in an open-ended way that gets the client to really explore in places that they hadn't previously allowed themselves to explore in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so creating also coactive for me is also kind of creating a container
Hmm.
that is courageous. It's
Hmm.
not, it's safe, right? It's safe, meaning you and I know that when we get to territory that feels tight or crunchy or
Yeah.
whatever, that we get to check in and we get to consent. Do we want to
Mhm.
continue this conversation? Do we want to table it for next time? Do we want to? But there's like a level of courage in the showing up that is also so inspirational and
Yeah.
so freeing. And I find that when people and my clients, women that I work with in particular, are able to access emotions, usually there's a place in her body where she's been holding it. And
Yes.
so one of the things that we haven't been guided to do in our society is to go into that feeling. What color is it?
Mm.
What does it feel like? Tell me
Mhm.
more, like
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
somebody who's there to really just tell me more. What else? What else?
Yeah.
Right. And then something usually arises, and usually with it is an emotion.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
these are all
Like a root
trapped.
emotion,
Yeah,
you
there's
mean? Yeah,
usually a
yeah.
root emotion, and then there's a wave of relief, and then there's a revelation, then there's an insight.
Yeah.
These things are all tied together.
Yep.
And so the coactive coaching is really starting to like surface these things that have been pushed so
Pushed.
far
Oh,
down,
we're squeezed
into
in.
what I
Yeah.
call kind of the underworld, into our
Mhm.
unconscious.
Mhm.
And usually when we go through a dark night of the soul, what we're really doing is
Mhm.
we're being examined, we're being invited to go into the underworld, into the unconscious. And there's a beautiful myth out there for your listeners called the myth of
Mhm.
Inanna.
Mhm.
And Inanna was a
Anana?
Sumerian
Yeah, I was
Inanna.
like, is that the Sumerian goddess?
She's the
Yep.
Sumerian goddess.
She's the one that's, related to, is it Hecate or
She's known as also as Ishtar, I believe, but
Ishtar? Nana?
her story is very specific.
Mhm.
She puts her ear to the great below,
Mhm.
and she's this queen living on the surface of life. So let's just think about a woman living on the surface of life, pretty,
Mhm.
pleasing,
Mhm.
performative, right?
Mhm.
Polite. We're
Mhm.
living on the surface of life. We've got this handled, right?
Mhm.
And then we hear something that is inviting us to go deeper.
Mhm.
And so, what Inanna does is she's called into the great below because she can hear her dark sister, the
Mm.
parts of her that she had abandoned and kicked out of the
Yes.
garden, right?
Yes.
And so she decides that she's going to descend down through the seven gates to meet her dark
Yes.
sister who she's abandoned.
Yes.
So, you know the story.
I do know the story, but
And
keep
at
going.
each of the gates, she
Sure.
asks questions.
Mhm.
And the guardian of the gates says, "Quiet, Inanna. The ways of the underworld are perfect."
Mm.
And so at each gate, she has to disrobe. She has to
She
leave
takes a piece of
something
herself.
behind,
Yes. Yes.
right? And so, of course, metaphorically, you can think, okay, I'm leaving behind my perfectionism in order to
Yes.
go into the underworld. Okay, I'm leaving behind um my need for looking good,
Yeah, I was gonna say vanity or whatever. Yeah.
right? Vanity.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, I'm leaving behind my need to have it all together and to not be emotional, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So as you descend down through the seven gates, now in our culture, we would I mean, in an indigenous culture, anybody who's going through a rite of passage, and in this myth, they would have a witness, somebody who's willing to bang the drum so that the woman doesn't get lost in the underworld, right? I didn't have
Yes.
that when I was in the underworld, right? I
Mhm.
didn't
Mhm.
have a ninja bar or whatever her name
Right.
was to
Right.
bang the drum to call me back if
Right.
I got too deep in there. So
Yes.
I ended up in there for 9 months by myself,
Perfect.
It really was perfect.
Gestation.
I mean, I lived to tell the tale.
Yeah.
But the beauty is on the way up in the myth of Inanna, she's also choosing what is she gonna take with her and
Take
what's
back
she
with
gonna
her.
leave behind,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And I won't spoil the story, but, you know,
You can spoil
well, at the bottom, okay, so at the very bottom of, and you can do Inanna meditations, actually, you
Yeah.
can find them.
Ooh, that would
But
be
yeah, because you can kind of just sit in a meditation and imagine yourself going through the seven gates. And then at the very bottom,
mm,
you're meeting the parts of yourself you had abandoned. And sometimes women have a very emotional time seeing the
yeah.
little girl parts that they like, the weird one, right, Megan? Like maybe the weird one was down there because she wasn't allowed. So there's a
Mhm.
reclamation that takes place.
Mhm.
And those parts now get to exist with us. They get to become part of us. They become reintegrated instead of
Mhm.
disintegrated, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so as we travel back through the gates, back to the surface of life, we're not the same anymore. And when we arrive back to the world, people say, "You've changed." And we
Mhm.
say, "Thank you. It's true.
Right. Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
remember as
It's
a
true."
kid, people be like, "You're so weird." I'm like, "I'm very unique." But it's like I was just you just made me think about so a couple of things that just sprung to mind was, we want to be individuals and we want to be connected, but we have it flipped on the not underworld part, meaning the part that we think needs to be connected and similar is our external. But like what it is that the part that is the same is the internal.
Mm.
And then the external things, our individuations, are what makes us unique.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like
Like,
instead of being the same on the outside, we're the same on the inside and we're unique on the outside, you
right.
know?
It's like and the beauty of this is like if we are, um, you know, spiritual beings having a human experience, then
Yeah.
it's the spirit. It's right. It's understanding who we are, like the soul of me. What is my soul's expression? What is my
Yeah.
right? And that we each have a soul and really getting
Yes. Yes.
and really relating and getting curious to each other as these spiritual beings
Yes.
because and this is where archetypes become so helpful
Right.
because it's the archetypes that help us understand that the human or spiritual journey is
Mhm.
very similar when you pull back the covers, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Everybody who gets initiated usually comes back from the initiation saying like, "Whoa, that was a tight shave," like,
Right. Yes. Yeah.
like I barely made it,
Right. Right.
like they're
Yeah.
just they're forever changed because they're like, I didn't think I didn't think I was gonna get out of there,
Yeah.
like, right?
And it's so easy to, and I found this, um, so recently I understudied a show and it was super challenging. And there's always that part of growth where it's like, especially as you get older, you just go, do I want to do this anymore? Do I want to grow anymore here?
Mhm.
How the hell am I going to do this? Like, because all of those feelings are always coming up of,
Always.
of the uncomfortability, the self doubt that I don't know if I can. And then you do, and then you go, okay, yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
No, and I'm so glad I did it, and look,
And
we've
you
got
learn
this
something every time,
every time.
you know?
Every time. Yeah, and I think what you're pointing to is this beautiful way that when we kind of get to a certain point in our growth, we can choose, we can discern like, am I too old for this? Like, do I really
Right.
want to take this
Yeah.
on? Like, but there's this way that too that we have the tools now to like I said earlier, just to be like hand on heart, like, okay,
Yeah.
I notice a part coming up right now that's really
Yes.
uncomfortable. There's a part of
Yes.
me here that just is really scared to do this. And
Yeah.
I can see that part and I can witness that part. And I can also say, like, okay, we've got this, right?
Yes.
And like I couldn't do that when I didn't have this training,
Mhm.
when I
Mhm.
hadn't gained this wisdom. It was like I was constantly self-abandoning. I was
Yeah.
constantly, leaving the scene. I was constantly doing the Irish goodbye.
Yeah, it's like, "Peace out, I'm outta here."
Yeah, peace
Yeah.
out, right? Like
Mhm.
just disappearing, becoming invisible
Yeah.
invisible.
Yeah.
And actually visibility is one of those things that's really, really, really tough for most women.
Yes, and especially, I will also add to this, speaking of the woman's journey and everything, visibility is very hard for me post-menopause or in the middle of perimenopause.
Tell me more.
You know, the last time I was on stage in Chicago, I was in my 20s and a size 4 to 6.
Mhm.
I'm not that anymore.
Right.
Let's not discuss what I am, but I'm not that anymore. And so and there's so much around that. As much as the wisdom in me understands, like, it doesn't matter, blah, 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 blah,
No, because your
there's so
programming
much
is the
training.
programming is so thick.
Yes.
And this is where, Megan, the self-approval because because you're absolutely right, right? Like there, and I knew it was going to be about size because I'm
Yeah.
a woman, right?
Hmm.
I'm a woman, and when it comes to visibility, and we don't look like, and we're not in what's called our patriarchal prime,
Yeah. Yeah. Which is like
right?
20, right? When you don't know anything.
And we get our currency or our value is in our looks, like, and
Hmm.
again, I'm saying this is all bullshit as I'm saying it.
A hundred
We know
percent.
it's bullshit, but it's still the
It's
spell, and
entrenched.
so I call it this the trance of unworthiness, and
Yes.
we as
Yes.
women get to
I like that.
know, we're
Hmm.
able to see, where am I still in the
Hmm.
trance? Well, a lot of
Hmm.
us are still in the
I love
trance
that.
as it relates to our body. A lot
Hmm.
of us are still in the trance when it comes to diet and food and, um, you know, being a people pleaser.
Yes.
It's very, very thick.
But it's also, there's also add in the layer of the, I, I call it the, woo woo Karen or boho Karen,
Mhm.
which sometimes, she's one of my parts that comes up and I'm like, girl, we didn't invite you. But,
Right.
she comes up.
She comes
She
uninvited.
comes up and she shames
Of
people and being
course she
like, you're
does.
so loud eating your
Yeah.
Doritos in the middle of a show. This is not your living room, you know? And I'm like, just so you know,
Yeah.
which is
Oh
always
my
like
gosh.
which is the Karen thing to say, just so you know.
Yeah.
And then I get to leave and I'm like, oh my God, Karen, where the fuck did you come from? Pardon my French.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyway,
I love
uh,
that though, Megan. I will
with the
say, like, I love
policing.
that. I
Yeah.
love that for white women that we all have an inner, like looking at that, like seriously, like
Oh yeah, I have to look at that a lot. Like
a
there was a
lot.
couple of times that, I've been schooled. My inner Karen has been schooled. And I appreciate when she's I request her to be schooled. I have some friends and I'm like, school my inner Karen, my
Yeah.
inner boho
Yeah.
Karen,
Yes.
because
Yes. Oh
she's
my gosh.
liberal.
Yes.
She
Far as
shops
she
at Whole
knows.
Foods.
Yeah.
She recycles.
Oh my gosh.
So, anyway, so maybe her name isn't Karen, but I like boho Karen. Anyway, my point is to that, of like, we know it's all bullshit as far as the, patriarchal training of what we should be physically to be worthy
Mhm.
to the world, that they want to even look at you, right? Or hear what you
Mm,
have to say.
mm.
So that is a thing. And the training is also a thing. And then there's this new boho Karenist thing that's like, well, you shouldn't feel that way.
Yeah.
And there is, because there's so much, policing going on
That's right.
right now.
That's right.
And the
And there's a lot
policing
of
is another version of the patriarchy, and it's a boho Karen language,
that's right.
you know?
Yeah, there's another book out there called Patriarchy Stress Disorder. Have you ever heard of that one?
Ooh, no. Give me
Oh
some
my
good
gosh.
books. Oh, by
And
the way,
all
speaking of which, listeners, the Christina Cleveland is the author
yes, is
of
the author of God is a Black Woman.
God is a Black Woman. And what's the other one? Patriarchy, what?
Patriarchy Stress Disorder, and that's
Yeah.
by Valerie Rain, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and I actually had a chance to interview her on my podcast, and she
Yeah.
actually talked about, she said, there comes a time where a girl turns into a patriarchal woman and she no longer has to be policed by her mother. Now she's policing herself,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's what happens is we have these, like, we've built an inner prison.
Yeah.
And she kind of talks about it in this book as an inner prison with jail, with wardens, with
Mm-hmm.
prison
Yeah.
guards,
Yep.
that are there to keep us safe. But of course, they're doing the opposite. They're terrorizing us.
Yeah.
And there are these internalized voices that
Mm.
do not come from us.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I love this conversation. And this is where I love kind of breaking the bullshit rules.
Yeah.
Right. Because, like, if we follow the patriarchal program, we're screwed. We are screwed. There is no
Yes.
winning.
No,
There
because
is,
it's a cookie cutter. It's a one size fits all on the outside.
yes,
And
and
like,
it's
we're not the
terribly
same on the outside.
boring.
We're the same on the inside,
It's
you know?
terribly boring.
Yes, it is.
It's just it's so boring,
Yeah.
and
It's vanilla ice cream on a merry-go-round.
it's so lame. I
Yeah.
just I can't at that. So
Yeah.
this is where we start to play the game. How good can it get?
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. And we start to enjoy breaking the bullshit rules and looking at our lives from this perspective of like, I want to do this thing. What's holding me back? Oh,
Yeah.
I think I'm too old for it. Oh, no,
Right.
the patriarchy thinks I'm too old for it.
That's right.
Right? Like, so we start to like look at these places where we're longing to grow, we're longing to have an adventure, we're longing
Mhm. But we've got
to
resistance.
dare to dream. And we're like,
Mhm.
wow, so what's holding me back?
Yeah.
And that's where I really invite women like, get yourself a coach, get yourself a
Hmm.
coach that knows this work and knows this language.
Yeah.
And this isn't my sales pitch because it's not really about, for me, it's like I needed a guide. I needed a
Yeah, I was gonna
Sherpa.
say, we need guides. We
We
don't have like,
absolutely
our
do.
society isn't structured that way anymore. I was reading something, and I can't remember where it was, but it was about women aren't meant to be in households with men all the time, like, and they're supposed to be like, the men are gone, like,
Yeah.
they're not supposed to be around our husbands all the time,
No,
or partners, because we're meant to be in community with each
that's
other.
right. That's right.
Helping each other, guiding each other, teaching each other, supporting each other, like, that's more how our brain chemistry functions best,
That's right.
not necessarily in this, like, dynamic that the patriarchal dynamic that we've, been told is the way to go.
No, with the hierarchical households,
Yeah.
with the children that must leave at age 18, with like there's
Mhm.
all these rules again, like once you start to reveal kind of the hidden agreements
Mhm.
to participate in this society, you go like, what
What am
is
I doing?
this? Like
Yeah,
what am I doing and why? Why does it have to be this way? Because it
it
doesn't.
doesn't.
It
Mm.
doesn't.
Mhm.
And I think that once women start to realize like I get to be the author of my own life. I get to
Mhm.
rewrite this freaking story and I'm going to make
Mhm.
it juicy and
Yeah.
I'm going to make it
Fun.
big and I'm going to make
Yeah.
it fun and I'm going to
Yeah.
make it right. Like then women start to come back to life because that's just it. It's like most of us are dying before we realize that we
Mhm.
have, like, okay, I'm going to say this
Yeah.
differently. I'm going to say that I wasn't afraid to die. When I had my dark night of the soul, I was like, great, take me. I'm so exhausted. Like, who wants to
Like,
do this life?
start
Like,
over. Yep.
right. I didn't have the revelation until later that I wasn't afraid to die. I was afraid to live,
Yes.
to really live on
Yeah.
my terms,
Yes.
my terms. Like we grow up
It's a hard one.
learning these things like compromise is good. No, it's not.
Mm-mm.
No, it's not.
Harmony is good. Harmony.
Harmony is good. Compromise, not. If you
Mhm.
compromise yourself and you compromise your desires and you
Mhm.
compromise your needs,
Mhm.
you're going to lose.
Yeah. And it'll show up physically. It shows up physically.
It'll absolutely show up. And that was the
It
truth too,
starts
Megan. I was
energetically.
so sick.
Mhm.
I had an autoimmune disorder.
Hey, me too.
Like 80 women,
Look at our job. Do you
80%
know
of
what yours
women
is
in
called?
America. Yes, I know what it's called, but I think
It won't tell
it's,
me what mine is. It's so much fun.
oh my gosh, tell me more. What's yours?
I don't know.
Yeah,
They have no
it's
idea.
just a bucket. It's just an
Yeah.
autoimmune
It's like
bucket
we'll wait to
disorder.
see how you deteriorate more to find out if
Okay,
probably
let me guess. Achiness.
all over.
Okay, all over achiness. So we'll call it fibromyalgia.
Yeah. Well, I think they called it like a generalized arthritis, but yeah,
Oh,
sure.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. All right.
Which makes me
Um,
feel so young.
brain fog.
Well, yes.
Yes,
Yes.
right. Depending on the day or
Yeah,
whatever.
it depends
Yeah.
on who you talk to. It's either some kind of arthritis or you talk to your general practitioner and it's like, "Oh, it's premenopause." I'm like, "And?"
And you know what is at the root of most women's autoimmune disorders?
Perimenopause.
No, overfunctioning.
Ooh. Ooh, yes. Especially as the hormones start to lower. I was reading something as well the other day that was like it said something, it was I just glanced across it, but it was like as our estrogen goes down, it's like we are meant to go internally and to become more energetic beings. Like we're
Yep,
supposed to come into our energetic bodies more, and that's what gives us strength. And it goes exactly to what you're saying that if we are still in our external running around too much bodies, we're just going to further deplete.
that's right.
And that's where we crash.
Yeah, yeah. It's like there's this whole opportunity, I think, like, so yes, absolutely to the hormonal imbalance. And when you begin to realize that only medicine has only ever been studied through 160-pound males or whatever it is, right?
100%.
Like, and that they actually don't and haven't studied and don't know shit
Anything.
when it comes to women.
No,
Excuse my French. It not
I
only
love
is it
French.
like I love French. Not it's just it's so
It's just,
negligent.
it's
It's
like
so
onomatopoeia.
upsetting. It's so
Mhm.
however, like again, all of this information once we realize like why am I listening to this doctor? Like they don't even have the
They don't even
science.
know what they're
Like
doing.
I invite so many women to tune into our bodies and to start to I mean, I'll just raise my hand and say allopathic medicine couldn't do anything for me. And so
Mhm.
I began a journey researching outside of the box of allopathic medicine. And I started
Mhm.
finding all types of healers. And
Yeah.
every single thing that I've ever done has contributed to my vitality and my health today.
Mhm. Mhm.
And a lot of it was, believe it or not, the programming. A
Yeah.
lot of it was the story that I was telling myself internally.
Yeah.
And then of course, you have these psychosomatic symptoms. And I'm not saying they're not real, they're very, very real.
No, they start in your mind.
And they manifest
They,
in the body.
yeah. So the energy, when the energy can't hold them anymore, they
That's
start
right.
manifesting in the body. Yeah.
Because we've all heard the term dis-ease, right?
That's right.
And so there's this uneasiness that continues to grow that we continue to manage. And
Mhm.
that is the problem. Usually at the root is a suppressed emotion. And
Mhm.
so, the most kind of amazing gift we'll ever give ourselves is this work where we begin the unbecoming, where
Yeah.
we start unbecoming from what the world expects of us. And we start saying, like, no, I have a different rhythm.
Yeah.
I started discovering this, Megan, when I was podcasting, and I started realizing, like, why was I doing it in this regimen like I had been taught? Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
one podcast a week and,
Right.
3 interviews and this, that, and the other thing. And I had stacked my schedule in such a way that
And
I
then
was
you're
like, wait a
stressed
minute.
out.
Like
Yeah.
I've built myself a prison here. Like I
Right.
can,
Right.
right? Like I'm like, wait, I'm the one that gets to decide. So I started working first. I started taking a long weekend. Then I started doing 3-day work weeks.
Yeah.
Then I started it's just amazing. Then I started giving myself the summer off. The funny thing is I didn't even know what to do with myself in the summer. I was like, "Oh my god, like,
What do?
what do I do? Who am I?" Like, like you have such an
Yeah.
identity crisis when you're not
Yes.
doing the same things you've always done.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then I finally got to the point where I was like, I think I wanna explore art. I think I wanna go back to art school at age what was I at that time? 53,
Nice.
And so
Yeah.
2 years ago, I took a 6-month sabbatical, and here I am, like
I
2
love
years
it.
later, and I'm just starting to realize, even though I've been in this conversation with all of these tools, I was still so bound up. And,
Mhm.
like, actually getting my nervous system to, like, relax and reprogram itself has been,
Yeah.
like, amazing,
Yeah. And
right?
it's it's not, we can't gloss over the importance of the container for that.
Yeah.
Like having a safe container
Peaceful.
that allows for that listening. And I was going to say, when you were saying when women, we need to uh you know have this revelation, but I'm like, it's like we need to come back to listening and trusting.
Yeah, and
That's
I
at the
had
core.
an
Mhm.
addiction to drama and chaos, and so I had
Yeah.
to really look at that because
Yeah.
that's how my nervous system was wired. It's like, I
Yes.
don't feel
Yes.
comfortable unless there's chaos,
Right.
right? It's like that because that's how I grew up, as
Same.
my family of origin. It was like chaos and drama all the time. So,
Chaos,
like,
drama, anxiety,
addiction.
stress.
Yep,
Yes, all the
yep.
things.
And so when that's not there, you truly have kind of this, like,
Yeah,
who am I without stress.
Well, you
Who
don't
am
know
I
where your
without
baseline is.
Yeah,
Like someone who was explaining to me once where it was like a therapist or something that like if your baseline of stress is here, and it was way up here and normally like the median is way down here. If you drop down, it's like your body freaks out and tries to find a way to get back up to what it
completely.
thinks the median is, which is
Uh,
high stress or
yeah, and
high
then
chaos.
to have the revelation of, like, I'm actually a really peaceful person
Yeah, I
who
feel like
who doesn't really love
I don't
drama.
like all that. Yeah.
I really
No.
don't. But
Yeah, I
it
left a party the other day because I was like, "Oh, you know what? I don't really like being around people. I
oh
wanna
my
go."
god, yes, I love this.
I know, it was
You know,
great. I was like,
somebody invited me to a bonfire the other night, and I was like,
"Yeah, no,
"No,
no, I don't think so."
no, I don't think I need to smell like smoke. I don't think I wanna," and,
Yeah.
like, again, whatever, like, but it's like my always, let me call it, way of operating was to just immediately like, "Oh, I'm
Yes.
fine, yeah," and it's
Yeah.
like, "Well, wait, let me pause for a second. Like, how does that really, like, land? No,
Yeah, I don't
nah,
think I'm in the
I'm
mood for
good,
that
I'm
today.
good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
thanks,
And
let
then
me
sometimes it could be the
take a rain
opposite.
check." Yeah.
Yeah. It depends on what you're feeling in the moment.
And
Okay,
then
talk to
yeah.
me because I could talk to you for um talk to me about this your kids' books. Was this the Earth Savers Gang storybook series?
Yeah,
In
so
little bits?
that's so funny because that was back in the bio, but so I am or was a serial entrepreneur,
Yeah,
and
right.
I
Praise
had
Jesus. I'm right over here. Mhm, mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
but I think my identity is changing.
Mm.
But that was kind of so that was a storybook series. It was called The Earth Savers Gang, and it was about 6 eco-minded heroes who learned that their ability to save the planet came from values they held on the inside. And it was like
I
the
love this.
value of friendship, the
Yes.
value of teamwork, the value of,
Mm.
um, uh, determination, so
Yeah.
it was like these characters were
Yeah.
working with the value of humor. These
Yeah.
characters that I had created
Love it.
were using these values, but they were also teaching other kids, so through
Mhm.
the storybook series, how to grow their own food, how
Mm.
to, be kind to animals. Like, there was Olivia Ocean Saver, and she had grown up with
Mm.
a father off the coast of Hawaii. She had
Mm.
lost her mother, so it's like talks about a single parent and a child that
Right.
was great with animals, right? Like, we know of animal whisperers in our midst. So
Yeah.
each
Yeah.
character, Zach was from inner city Detroit. He had ADD. He loved putting things together, mechanical things. And at the time, I was raising venture capital because I believed that if kids could go online and take care of a stuffed animal like Webkins, remember those?
Yeah, yeah.
That they could go online and do real world things and get real world
The results.
rewards, and
Yeah.
then put those rewards towards something that they actually cared about, like
Oh my
saving
god, I love
animals or
this.
oceans or anything like that. It
Yeah.
was in 2008 when the economy crashed, and that's when I went into my dark night of the soul. So it was this
Yeah.
multifaceted thing. I was raising venture capital, and
Yeah.
again, doing all these things they say we women can do. We can be in the boardroom, we can raise
Yes.
capital, we can raise the family. Well,
Yes.
we can. Do we want to?
Yeah.
Do we want to?
Yeah.
And that was the last kind of creative burst I had
Mm.
before I kind of like ended up in bed and sick and then getting a divorce and all the
Mhm.
rest.
Mhm.
So it's funny that that was in that old bio.
Oh, yeah,
But that's
I'm
the
sorry.
story behind that is I
I love
had
that though,
yeah, yeah, I mean, it's worth
because it
talking
speaks
about.
to and then it kind of like segued right into speaking to doing too much on the outside to have to go inside,
Absolutely.
and look within.
Yeah, and I feel like all of those characters were parts of me anyway,
Of course, yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I like to think of it like I had this visual. This was an acting thing, but I think it's a humanity thing. But the visual was, do you remember Spencer's?
I know in human design, for those of you who know what human design is, they kind of talk about humanity as a disco ball, and you know how you're all
Oh,
those
yeah, I
little
love that. Yes.
mirror pieces, and together it
Yes. Oh,
makes
I
like
like that even
this.
more.
Yeah, but it's just this idea too that like we're all this unique piece and we play this part and we reflect, right,
The
these
world
certain
around us, yeah.
values and these
Mhm.
certain attributes, and that, like, but that we make up this bigger whole of humanity. But
Mm.
each part of us and what makes us different and unique is what creates the whole thing,
Yeah.
And so we have to play our part and be willing to be the unique part of the disco ball, right? In
Mm.
order to fulfill our mission and what we came here to do and what we came here to express.
Mhm.
And so it's just really beautiful. And I do think that there's so many helpful philosophies and attitudes that I personally love inquiring about because um it just helps me gain perspective when life gets really overwhelming and
Yeah.
tough. And
Yeah.
right now, for example, I say don't forget to laugh because well, that's my saying, right? Don't
Don't
forget to
forget to laugh.
laugh
You're always on your
because
path.
because
Yeah.
oh, and don't forget, yeah, you're always on your path. And mine
Mhm.
is there is a path to the mystery. As I walk, it's revealed to me, the deep, the
Mm.
dark, the way. And
Oh, I like
so but this part about not forgetting to laugh is so important because
so
we can
important.
tend to take this all so seriously. And it's like climate crisis and heat waves and earthquakes. And, we're constantly being bombarded with what's
Mhm.
wrong with humanity.
Mhm.
Right? And my brother was so funny the other day. He's like my Irish twin. He was like sitting at
Mhm.
mom's house watching the news.
Yes.
Disaster story. Number one, disaster story. Number two, disaster story. Three, guess what? More disaster. Four, another disaster. Five, quick tip about pets in the heat.
Of course.
6, disaster story, and then, like, a
Yeah.
feel good at the end.
God,
He's like, "The ratio is so
it's insane.
lopsided,"
Yeah,
right?
it
And
is.
so, again, when we can step back and look objectively at how we're being programmed and
Mhm.
why are we being programmed this way? We're being programmed this way so that we're disempowered, so
Yeah,
that
fear disempowers you.
we don't live a fully actualized life and
Mhm.
come into who we were all meant to be. And it's a
Mhm.
game.
Mhm.
We have to remember,
You have to play.
like we have up levels. We need to play. You're
Yeah.
being up leveled now if you're listening to this
Mhm.
podcast, right? It's like an
100%.
invitation. It's like
Yes.
time to get back in the game.
Yes. Amen. Monica, where can everyone find you?
Jointherevelation.com.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
And
it.
there's a free gift for any of your
Yes.
listeners that want it. It's called the Women's Bill of Rights.
Oh, yes.
I wrote it to myself after I came out of the dark night to remind
Mhm.
myself
Mhm.
that I have the right to be both messy and magnificent
Yes, and magnetic.
and magnetic. And that all of these ways that women are so paradoxical that they
Yeah.
belong together, that it's not that one doesn't cancel out the other, that they get to stand together like messy and magnificent, right? It's
Yes.
like it's starting to use the sacred and. It's like
The yes and, yes, for
these
sure.
places where we can tend to, abandon the part of me. But no, can I bring that part and also add another part of me,
Mhm.
that allows these two to stand together
Yeah.
and not cancel each other out, right? I'm looking for those places in my life where I can be more of myself.
Yes. The visual I'm getting as you're saying that is like, instead of a nicely, filtered Instagram
Curated.
photo, curated
Yes.
Instagram photo, it's a beautiful sloppy collage that you
It's
hand.
right, and it's
Mhm.
beautiful, and it's got its
Mhm.
own cracks and fissures, and it's
Mhm.
filled in with gold
And rough
because
edges. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's beautiful in its own way. And that's, I think, what, we all just need to do is to recognize and realize that if we're not living the life we love, that
Mhm.
we still can, and that it's up to us to create it. And if you're listening and you wanna create that life, I know you're a coach, I'm a coach,
Mhm.
and there's many coactive coaches out there as well. And if
Yeah.
you're finding yourself stuck, that's a perfectly beautiful place to be.
It's a golden
But
place to
don't
be.
stay there.
Yeah, you don't have to.
No,
And you find someone you resonate with, and then they guide you along.
that's right.
Mhm.
So thank you
Thank
for
you.
this. It was
Oh,
so,
thank you
so
so
great to be
much.
with you.
It was so wonderful to be I adore you, and I'm so glad we found each other, and I could seriously talk to you for, like, hours and hours.
Anytime.
It's
And
like old soul contract. Be like, "Girl, how you been?"
yes, I know it's so good. It's like so good to see you again. Oh, I didn't know
No.
you.
Yeah,
Favor
exactly.
with a feather. It totally feels like it. But Megan, too, if I start podcasting again, I'd love to invite you on the show.
Honey, 100%.
All right.
I would love
Awesome.
that. I would love
Okay.
that. All right. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you soon. Take care. All right.